And Mac Girl Magic is live. Hey, everybody, welcome to our very first Mac Girl Magic Live. And if you don't know what Mac Girl Magic Live is, then I'm going to tell you that shortly. But if you are a current or former student of the Immaculate Conception High School in Kingston, Jamaica, then you know what Mac Girl Magic is, right? Immaculate High School, the home of phenomenal women. And we are going to have a fantastic conversation here today. Of course, let me start out by introducing who I am. It's like, who is this person? I'm Carrie Ann. I'm Carrie Ann Betton Stimson, right? When I was going to Immaculate, I was Carrie Ann Betton, Carrie Ann Stimson. No, and I am your host. First of all, my day job is I do something else that has nothing to do with this, but I'm also a member actually of the ICHS Association, the Jamaica chapter, and I am the coordinator on the Big Sister program committee. And as a big sister, what we try to do is we try to engage with the current student population of Immaculate High. And the goal is just to kind of share our experiences, our journey, to make sure that, hey, we spread not only the love, but also pass along anything that we would have learned along the way as former students and as we've journeyed through life, to turn around and help our younger sisters who are at the school and going through their own life journeys as well. So that's my role, and I'm happy now to be hosting today's conversation. We have an exciting discussion, but don't worry, it's not just me who's going to be talking, right? And I'm going to introduce the two other ladies who are going to be joining me here today. And the first person who is going to be joining me is actually my co-host for today's live. And she is none other than Rachel Downey. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Korean. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good.
Great,
I'm excited.
great. Yeah, I'm very excited too. So first of all, Rachel is a current student at Immaculate High. Rachel, what grade are you in?
I'm in grade 13.
Grade 13. So Rachel has gone the journey, the full journey through Immaculate, and is on her last lap. But Rachel is not only my co-host for today and a current student at Immaculate, she's also the current Miss Immaculate. So we're very happy to have you, Rachel. You volunteered to be a part of today's discussion to co-host with me, and I'm so very happy because I needed the help, and you joined and you answered the call. So I'm very happy that you're a part of today's discussion. So Rachel and I are going to be co-hosting today's discussion. And of course, if you've been seeing the flyers or if you haven't, we have an awesome guest. But before I introduce our featured guest for today's conversation, I'm going to say, first of all, welcome to all of you watching. We are streaming live via YouTube, of course, the ICHS Alumnae 876 YouTube channel. However, this conversation is being recorded, so you'll get the opportunity to watch it and re-watch it and share it with anybody who probably doesn't have the time to kind of sit with us. We're going to be here for just over an hour to speak and share and exchange, so don't worry about it. We are recording it. But if you are watching live, please go into the live chat right now and drop a hello. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're watching us from. And we have an international audience of viewers. There are some of us watching from right here in Jamaica. Tell us where you're watching us from if you're in Jamaica. And if you're watching us from overseas, outside of Jamaica, please tell us where you're watching us from. Give us your name. Tell us if you're a current ICHS student or if you are an alum. We welcome everybody to join us in this conversation. And then, of course, continue to be a part of the conversation in the chat. Drop your questions about today's topic. We'll try and get to them. Drop your words of wisdom, any little nuggets you want to share about today's topic. Please drop them in the chat as well. I want to say a special big up, all right, to Kim Mayer. Hey, Kim, welcome. Welcome. Kim is the president, the current president of the ICHS Alumni Association's Jamaica chapter. Happy Saturday, Kim. Hope you're having a great one. And yes, Kim, of course, is an alum of ICHS, and she's the first one to say hello in the chat. So yes, guys, please drop your name in the chat. Tell us where you're watching us from, whether you are a current student or a past student. And please, as we go through today's conversation, please share. So without further ado, right, Rachel, I'm going to go and introduce our featured guest for today. So, our featured guest for today is, first of all, an ICHS alum, of course. You gotta get that out there. She's an ICHS alum. We're not going to say what year she graduated, nor will you hear what year I graduated. So it's all good. It's all good. Just know we went to Immaculate and we have the pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
Uh, but also she is a very, very much beloved, well-known media personality here in Jamaica, and she has her own talk show that she hosts, Sim Soul Sessions. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful show that has been inspiring and motivating and sharing wonderful stories of triumph across Jamaica and the world, because once you're on the internet, you're impacting the world, right? So she does that as well. She's a mom and she's here to share with us the awesome nuggets. Please join me in welcoming none other than Simone
Simone Cooper.
Clarke-Cooper.
Woo!
Hey, Sim, how are you?
Hi, Care. I'm very well. Hi, Rachel. It's good to be here with you guys
Hi.
this afternoon. Carrie, thank you for not divulging any years of
We're not,
graduation. Let's
yeah,
just say
no,
we're in the same year, about
yeah,
a couple of years ago.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
was there.
I will disclose Simone and I were in the same year, same graduation year. We used to, I feel like in the last couple of years, we used to sit like you used to always sit in front of me and I was always behind you. We used to sit very close together. I mean, Simone is my brethren from then in terms of toasted me at my sweet 16. I still have
For
those pictures.
sure.
Again, we are not saying what year that was, but we're
Yeah,
coming from
pictures
far.
of that?
Yeah, can you imagine? Like we're coming from far.
Send them, send them.
But this is it's great to see you, Sim. Thank you so much for answering the call, for being our very first featured guest on this live stream, and Rachel again for volunteering. And again, welcome to everybody. I see more people hopping on. Thanks so much for joining. Again, we're recording this live. So we're going to be here for just over an hour. So if you're not able to stay for the whole thing, yeah, please don't worry about it. We're recording it. Come back to ICHS Alumni 876's YouTube channel and watch it at your convenience. Share it. And guess what, guys? Share this link right now to your friends, your family, your ICHS colleagues, and
Everyone.
community. Tell them to
Everyone.
jump on board and join the conversation. Hey, Catherine. What's up, Catherine? How are you doing from the Toronto chapter? I love it. Catherine, what's the temperature like up in Canada? Please tell us. I
How?
mean, it looked like y'all cooling down really fast up there. So the trees turning from the pictures. So thanks for joining us. Yes, guys. So send the link out. Tell everybody to come and join the conversation. And again, drop your name in the chat. Tell us where you're watching us from. Are you a student, an alum? And of course, any questions you have for Simone or words of wisdom you want to share, please drop them in the chat. So we are going to jump right into it. We have more people joining. And as we continue, I know more people will join. So, as I said before, we have Rachel Downey, Miss Immaculate, current Miss Immaculate, who's co hosting with me. We have Simone Clarke-Cooper, our featured guest. And we, of course, have a bank of questions that we had prepared from beforehand. So, I'm going to ask Rachel to kick off with the first question to Simone. And let's get the conversation started. I'm excited, ladies.
Yes. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Karian, for that introduction. And our first question is, Simone,
Ma'am.
what is your relationship with goal setting? Is it easy to do? Is it hard to do? Or are you still trying to figure it out?
All right. Thank you for that question, Rachel.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for the invitation. It's really great to be here for this first staging, inaugural staging, which means it's history making. I love to be a part of history. So that's that on that. And let me just say that everything I say today, I'm not by any means a goals guru. I am a life student. And so anything I say in terms of what I offer up is largely going to be based on my own experiences. And that's typically how I try to share because, as Kerry said, having been through a bit of life already, if there are ways that we can help you ladies not fall into some of the ruts and the potholes we did, then I'm happy to share that roadmap with you, trials and tribulations and all. So, as far as my relationship with goal setting goes, when I thought about this question, Rachel, I realized that I've kind of been living on goal autopilot, which is really you kind of going along, and there's certain things you want for yourself. But I realized that up until very, very recently, and I mean when I hit my 40s, I was not very deliberate and very intentional about goal setting. And so, what I realized in those years was, had I known some of the things I know now, then I would have been more deliberate earlier. So the most vivid goal I can remember, like in my early years, like while I was in school, and I told a story at graduation one year, a couple of years ago, was being in grade 9 and knowing that I wanted to do broadcasting. I remember career day and setting up my little TV screen at the back of the room with my face in it from the pictures we had taken at school that year, and being the only one in the class who did that because I was the only one who wants to be a broadcast. I had no idea what it would take. I had no idea how to go about it in Jamaica. I just knew that I loved it and it was something I wanted to pursue. And the other goal I can remember deliberately having is wanting to go to university to study broadcasting at Karamak. Outside of that, I find that for me, a lot of life just kind of happened to me, and I just kind of went with it. So yes, I was able to pursue the Karamak road, but only after failing the first time, and that's something we'll talk about later on, the importance of failure. Um, and I was able to jump from university right into the world of work. I kind of was just going along with whatever happened to me, and I kind of just happened my way up and happened my way up. And I think no, what would have happened had I been more intentional in saying, okay, Simone, here are your life goals. Here is the overarching dream, and here are the smart initiatives and actions that you're going to take to achieve all of them. So, my relationship with goal setting, it hasn't been great. It wasn't great in the early years. It's gotten a lot better because now I feel like I have a lot of time to make up for. Because you can have your dreams, but you have to have your goals and your commitments because that's how your dreams come true. Faith without the works is dead. The dream without the goals is just a wish. So you have to work hard to make it happen. And so what I've realized is also that I've been working really hard all my life. I've been working since I was 18 years old. I've been in broadcasting since I was 18 years old. But if you work really hard and you're working for the wrong dream, like what's the point? You're wasting your time. So you really have to know what it is that you want so that you're not working your tail off, achieving the wrong thing. So luckily for me, everything aligned. And so I'm now here where I am. That's another thing. There are no mistakes in this life, but let's talk about that a little later on. So that is my relationship with goal setting. I wish I had known more earlier, but I learned late that in order to really achieve what you want to, you have to know what it is that you're trying to do.
Thank you, Simone. I think you can all relate with that idea of we're just going along with life and we're just trying to make it, trying to do the right things, and knowing that there are no mistakes in life. Everything happens for a reason.
Tell me about it. And, yeah, I'm in total agreement with Simone. And I'm so glad that this conversation is happening because that's why I thought, hey, when we're talking about goal setting, I think, yeah, to a certain extent, as much as we would be older as alums, we're still trying to figure it out. Still, even though we know more than we did back then, certainly, because life has taught us a lot. But we're still trying to figure it out, and these conversations are so helpful in helping us to transfer that knowledge. Simone, I wanted to just jump in and ask another question around goals versus dreams. You know, sometimes I feel like we use the terms interchangeably, and I know we have been since even leading up to and since starting this conversation. But in your experience, in your view, are goals and dreams, are they the same thing? Are they mutually exclusive? What's your view? I mean, I know it's an opinion largely, but just from your experience and perspective.
And I love that you mentioned the fact, Carrie, underscored that we're still trying to figure it out. 'Cause we're still trying to figure out life. But here's a beautiful thing about goals. You can have a new one every day. I mean, as soon as one plants itself in your spirit, there's no age limit. There's no cutoff time. We can set new achievable goals every single day. And then for me, a dream is that overarching vision, right? To me, the dream is the big picture. What is the legacy I want to leave? What do people want to remember me for? What is that big thing that I want to achieve in life? And this is not about like I want to make $100 million in revenue and I want to, have 45% of my investment portfolio in stocks and bonds. My simple dream is to live a life, and this is going to really sound really hairy fairy to a lot of people. I started my business to formalize a way to pour into people using the skills that I have honed in my 30 years of broadcast and training to equip other people with the tools to self develop, maximize potential, be better versions of themselves so that they can be better versions for Jamaica. And it sounds crazy, but it gives me such fulfillment and such joy to be able to do that through training, through coaching, through speech training, through writing speeches for people, through helping people to find their voices, through going into corporate entities and building campaigns that speak for them, through building a television show that's enigmatic and offering therapy and catharsis for people who didn't know they needed it. And so that's the goal. When I think about my dream, I want to be remembered for having made a difference. That's my dream, right? And so the goals to me are the building blocks that you establish towards the dream. So, be a great broadcaster. Feeds into that. Be authentic in everything I present and do. Practice what I preach. Keep sharpening and honing my skills. Offer tools, equip people with the skills that can help them better themselves, so that when they think of me and think of my brand, they can know that is my main aim and that is my main mission. And some of your goals have to be specific and measurable and attainable, and all this smartness in the world is very important. So there are times when you have to say, well, I want to stage 4 corporate training sessions for 2023 and reach X amount of people over X amount of time. What are the other legs and pillars of the organization that can feed into the overarching dream through the goals and objectives that I have and see in my mind's eye? So for me, the dream is the big picture. The dream is what can I do with my life is a dream. The goal is, what's the vehicle? Or what are the vehicles that are going to get me to that ultimate destination? Knowing full well that I may have to redirect, because sometimes when life happens, it knocks you off your path. And that's fine, because ultimately you're going to end up where you were supposed to end up. Sometimes you have to take the long route. Sometimes if it's too easy, something not right. But I firmly believe that, if we properly structure and know what the goals are, then the dreams are ultimately attainable.
Thanks, Sim. And first of all, I want to welcome everybody, because we have quite a few people who have joined us since we first started. Welcome everybody to our very first Girl Magic Live, streaming on YouTube, the ICHS Alumni 876 local chapter's YouTube channel. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. Today, we're talking to all of our awesome, phenomenal ladies, ICHS students, about how they can achieve their goals. Please, guys, drop a hello in the chat. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're watching us from. Tell us whether you're an ICHS student or alum. Hey, Jenna, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Say, I love when people tell us about their graduation a year. I mean, Simone, we're still hiding ours. But because we are phenomenal women, and we know we look good no matter what year we graduated, we can really shout it from the mountaintop. So, hey, Jenna, tell us where you're watching from, guys. Tell us whether you're in Jamaica, whether you're overseas, outside of Jamaica, or tell us where in Jamaica. Tell us if you're a student or an alum. Thanks for joining the conversation. And if you have any questions or any nuggets that you want to share as part of today's topic, please drop it in the live. We'll be here for about maybe another hour or so. And this session is being recorded. So please share the link. Tell people to come on and join us. There's still plenty of room in this live stream for this great conversation. I'm Carrie Ann Stimson, ICHS alum, co-host. My able co-host is a current Miss Immaculate, Rachel Downey, and we have our featured guest, ICHS alum, beloved media personality, host of her own show, Everything, Simone Clarke-Cooper. Hey, Allison, welcome. Thanks for joining. Allison is Franciscan. Hello, I want to see some Rose of Lima come up and some Tekka with
Let's hear some Joan of Arc.
Okay, Joan of Arc. Tekka with Tekka. You are Tech, right, Sim?
In the house.
Yeah, all right. Hey, Desiree, welcome. Yes, Desiree is representing for the Tekka with us. Love it. Welcome. Thanks, ladies. All right. So great conversation. So thanks for that split, Simone, because defining the difference between goals and dreams. And you know what I also picked up from what you're sharing too, Sim, is that the dreams also tend to extend into things that are bigger than us, that are impacting others, impacting either our families or communities, the country, the world. Yes. So it's awesome. You know what I mean? So
because you know what, Carrie, as you say, that too often we think of goals and objectives and we do not include the people in our lives and build objectives and goals around those people. We always think about our professional ambitions and what we can achieve in the world of work, and who are we without those people, right? So what are your dreams and goals for your family? I have dreams and goals for my family. I had dreams and goals for relationships and family when I was growing up, and sometimes those don't work out either. It doesn't mean that your dreams and goals die. You set new ones and you keep going. So that's a really, really crucial point you just made there, Mrs. Stimson.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So yes, so the houses, the competition's coming up now, Yes, Karen, Rose of Lima, represent right there. Represent. Hey, Gabrielle, how are you? Gabrielle, Rachel, this is your sister?
Yes, that is my sister.
Okay. Rachel is a twin, guys. Rachel is a twin.
Joan of Arc side. Okay, whatever.
yeah.
Thank you, Gabrielle. You know what's up.
Whatever. Good. I love the love. So, Rachel, back over to you. Your turn to ask the next question of Simone. Thank you.
Yes. So, Simone, you were speaking about wanting to be a broadcaster and having goals and dreams. So, we just wanted to know, what is the first step that you would tell us in identifying our goals?
Okay. So, I would say, I don't know if this is a step. Right? And I want to preface this answer with another nugget. And I want you guys to listen and learn, because really what I'm sharing today is my heart with all of you, right? I was always too timid and too doubtful to think big. Because everything just seemed like my self-talk was always, Simone, you can't do that. How are you going to do that? You can't. How is that going to be done? Because everything just seemed to me to be too big. And therefore, I was positing myself as too small to be able to achieve it. And that started to change when I entered the world of work, thanks to people who were mentors in my life. And we'll get to the importance of the people who surround you a little later on in the discussion. But what it has taught me, you see, Rachel, is that no, this girl is on fire. There is, for me, in terms of a goal, I just need to feel it in my spirit. Once I feel it, I say, okay. And I've been plagued by a P word called procrastination from ever since I know myself. It's something I'm still trying to work through. And so sometimes I will sit on the goal and try and stifle it because I'm still in a frame of mind sometimes where I'm at, Simone, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? That's crazy. And I usually sit until I'm needled. It's like something is pushing you to say, oh, you think you're going to sit down on this? You think you're going to sit down on this? Get it done. Get it done. It's got in my ear or whatever it is until I have to give in. So in terms of setting the goal, there is usually something that I feel in my spirit, either through an idea that I've had forever that I maybe shelved, or some new niche that I see, or some new need that I see, that I think to myself, okay, I can do something meaningful in this area. Yes, it seems big, but there are other things in my life that seemed bigger or equally big. And I look back on those things now, and sometimes I wonder, geez, how did I do it? But I did it. And so the lesson to learn from that is, once you consider, conceive, think of, dream of, wish to see that goal manifest, I start by writing it down. So when I feel it, Rachel, I pick up sometimes out of my sleep, Sometimes I'm sleeping and something says, hello, you're doing this. And I have to pick up the phone. Or I sleep with my book. See my book here? My notebook? I sleep with it beside my pillow. Because there are mornings, mid-mornings, when I have to get up and open the pen. If the light too bright from the phone at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I can't manage it, I just take up the book and I start to write. Very, very important. I also advocate for journaling. But to concretize it, write it down. That's the first step. Once you dream it up or think about it, put it somewhere. And as more comes to you about it, flesh it out. What is it? What is it that you plan to achieve? How do you plan to achieve it? When do you want to do this? How do you see it playing out? What is the impact and the takeaway that you want this event, initiative, idea to have? What is the goal of what you're trying to do? Write it all down. There's a saying that says, write the vision and make it plain. Sometimes when you write it in and you start to write, you feel like things just start to come out of you that you never knew were there. And then after you write it down and you build it out and you flesh it out, then you get to work and you get it done. And when you get it done, you check that box until something else plants itself in your spirit. That's how it starts for me. I feel it in my gut, and then I write it down, and then I start to work towards it.
Thank you, Simone. I hope you all were taking notes, because those are some gems. Something, if you didn't get it, if you didn't write it down quickly. So, Simone, you were saying to us that we need to have the idea, think about it, have positive self-talk, and know that even though it might be a big dream, even though right now we might not even have the capabilities we think that we need, we just need to believe that we can do it.
Yes, Rachel, and can I tell you something?
What is it?
Carrie and I were talking about this one day last week. Was it Carrie? I may have been talking to somebody else. We have everything we need to make whatever we need to happen.
It's already us.
We have everything we need to make whatever it is we need to happen. And it's something we need to remind ourselves of every day. Or else we'll just sit in this state of, I can't do this forever. and then end up in a state of regret, which is something I have promised myself I will never do again. Regret is wasted time and wasted. Better you try and drop and buck your toe and fail and take the lessons and go again than to sit and not do it and wonder what could have happened had I done it. Nope. Regret? Never. Never, never. Been there. I've tried it. Isn't that nice? I'm not doing it again. Not doing it again. And so, even if you find that you don't have what you think you need to make whatever it is you want to make happen, find somebody who does. And when we get to that, when we talk about the circle and what you need around you in order to make your dreams and your goals a reality.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Love this.
Brienne,
Love
over to
this.
you.
Thank you. Love this, ladies. I mean, we're getting quite a bit of engagement in the chat. Welcome again, everybody. I know people are dropping in as well. Go in the chat, tell us your name, tell us where you're watching us from, tell us whether you are an alum, a current student, and of course, tell us your house. There seems to be a little mini competition about which is the best ICHS house, you
Always,
know. So the
always.
three of us repping Rosa. I'm Rosa of Lima, Sim is Tech, and Rachel is Joan of Arc.
Joan.
So we heard we hear the Immaculatans in the chat. We got some Franciscans in the chat as well. So please say hello. But this has just been a great conversation so far, Sim. And again, what I'm picking up too is just writing it down is important, because I find too what it does is it creates a kind of a personal ownership. And I know
Yes,
sometimes, and I struggled with this in high school, is that my goals, I felt like a lot of the times my goals were maybe my parents' goals for me, what they thought I should have done as a career, because everybody got to be a doctor because that's the thing to do, until it was much later on that I realized, but hold on, I'm not really good at the chemistry or the physics, so why am I doing this thing and stressing myself out, until I started to define my own goals for myself, which I think was really empowering. And I want to acknowledge Catherine in the chat, who was sharing, she and her sister Catherine, I think, is joining us from Toronto, the Toronto chapter. Hey, Catherine, that she and her sister had a dream for a new FN lab for the school. And I mean, that ain't cheap.
Nope.
But working together, rallying the troops, and getting it done. So sometimes your dreams and your goals are for yourself. Sometimes they're for the benefit of someone else. Ultimately, the dream is, but writing it down and owning it, I think, is awesome. So, I mean,
Catherine. Big up, Catherine.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I know we, as an ICHS school community present and alums, are very grateful every time people turn around and share.
Well, Carrie, you make a good point. Can I jump in before you ask me?
Sure.
Two good points. So, when your dreams and your goals, I find, are pure and true, it is inevitable and invariable that you will positively impact somebody else. It just is. It just is. That's the first thing. The second thing is, there are a lot of ladies in this chat, or on this call, this meeting today, who are going to be, I don't going to call them victims, but the subject of our parents' vicarious dreams and goals and wishes. I was one of them. So when I was in high school, remember, Kara, I was in Glee Club, I was in drama, I was in everything, every pan knock, that was me. Speech. And I was also at the time in a performing arts group because I loved it so much. And my parents decided that I could not be in any performing arts group because how is that going to help me to be a lawyer, which is what my mom wanted me to do, right? And so they pulled me out of the performing arts group and said, no, you can't do this in school because that's a problem. Well, here I am, much years later. I've done theater, I've acted in productions, and largely what I do now draws on all of the things from theater and all of the things that I thought I would have to leave. Invariably, you're going to come back around to where you ought to be. And for the parents who are on this meeting today, on this chat today, and for the young people who are on this chat today, I want you to know that your dream and your goal, it doesn't have to look like what everybody else is doing, especially in this day and age when so many young people are making their names in very unconventional fields, Kerry. Um, what I learned from my own experience is that, when it comes to my child, right? Whatever feeds her soul is what I'm going to push her in. So now she dances like, I mean, that is her passion. I'm pushing her in the area of her passion because I want her to understand that if she does it right, then she doesn't have to work for anybody a day in her life either, right? And I want her to know that her dream and goal don't look like lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, but it's valid. It's valid. And the dance teaches discipline. So, what are the other benefits that we can take and meld to make sure that she becomes the best version, the most true version, the most authentic version of herself so she can go out and shine and be a light? And I want more of us as parents to understand that we need to give our children the freedom within the ambits of the parameters and the safety net that we put around them to feed their own spirit and feed their own souls, because that's how you create a happy, fulfilled, self-nourished, self-confident child. Right? So I just thought that was important to say, to add.
Love it, Sim. And I'm so glad. Welcome, Tony. Thanks for joining. Because Tony here, Tony, I'm assuming that you are a student or still probably quite young, because Tony says, this is her. She wants to work in the music industry. But of course, loving and caring parents and guardians say that she needs to be a doctor or a computer scientist. And, as a parent, and you're a parent too, Sim, I know we get it, right? We think, okay, you want your child to do something where they can eat and pay mortgage or rent or something. And I get that. And I think it's, as to your point, Sim, you have the ultimate dream. What are the goals that you need to plan out to get you there? Because even depending on what you're working in the music industry, it could be quite lucrative. Or if you think that you want to be the next Rihanna or Adele or whatever, until you get there, what are the steps that you're going to take to help you to feed yourself, to pay your bills, that sort of thing? Other areas of passion that you could explore and also help to make sure the financial side is covered, because yeah, it's a real thing.
Because it's a
But
balance.
yeah,
A balance. And here's
it is.
here's the other eureka, the epiphany, guys. None of us have to be any one thing. Oh, how wonderfully beautiful is that? We are in the age of additional revenue streams where you have one work that may be a 9 to 5, but you're baking on the side, you're singing on the side, until that other part of you that that is really the thing that you want to be can take its rightful place. You may have to balance a couple of other things, but there is no limit to what you can do, and you don't have to be. None of us are any one thing, and sometimes we get caught in this notion that if we do this, then we can't do that. And no, people, live. Once you feel it, try it. If it don't work, you would have tried it and you shelve it, right? So in your bid to achieve your dream of being a singer, Tony, you may find that you have to do the degree. You may be doing the degree and working in the daytime. You may be doing the studio in the nighttime, because trust me when I tell you, the music business is not easy to break into. I've seen it. I have colleagues, I have friends who are still trying to do it and they're barely eating. It takes time. And as parents, Kerry, we always tell our children, you must have something to fall back on. Have all the faith in the world that you will achieve what it is you want to achieve. And some people say don't have a plan B because that means your plan A must work. No. What is your plan? What is there to fall back on? Should plan A, not that it won't work, but should it not be as lucrative as you want it to be within the time frame that you want? You must be able to support yourself, through other means, but you are no one thing. So try everything, see what fits, what feels comfortable, where do you settle? Because goals change. Goals also change. So what you think you might want to do right now, in 5 years, maybe something else. So don't lock
Mm.
yourself in and don't tie yourself down. And be realistic, eh? Be realistic in what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Yes,
Yes.
love this.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a conversation. If you need to send the YouTube link to people to tell them to join, they're missing something. Thanks for sharing, Tony. And yes, guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat so we can table them and share. Because I know a lot of students right now are really just trying to think through their goals and kind of work things through. And you have a lot of voices coming at you from very well intentioned family, guardians, etc. But we're here to support the conversation and giving a great perspective. And Simone is really dropping these nuggets. Thanks, Kim. If you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work, right? They say if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. So there are many ways to skin the cat. I mean, Simone, my next question to you is, I know that you would have already shared with us earlier that you had particular dreams and goals supporting those to achieve that you'd kind of written down. Can you say, do you bucket your personal goals separate from your professional goals? I mean, how do you do that? Because I think so, most of the times when we talk about goals, and probably in this conversation, it's like, well, you think, oh, it's career goals, but there are professional goals, but there are personal goals as well. And how do you do it? Do you kind of bucket them separately?
So maybe once upon a time I would have. But
Okay.
again, with the added years on my life, I think I've become a little more wise. My ultimate goal in life now is happiness. Okay? And so there are some professional pathways I'd love to take to get there. And there are some personal pathways I'd like to, to use to get there. But what I found, Care, is that the two are so inextricably linked that is one if one is off, it's going to impact the other. And so for me, almost in a very seamless way, especially I find too, since I started my business in January of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, the two have become one because when I now realize that I'm working for myself, but working to ensure that I make my quality of life better, that I touch other people's lives, and that I make my child's life better. Because everything I do know, she is my why, right? So for me, that line of demarcation and delineation that once was, everything is now a blur. Everything is now melded. My professional pursuits, because they are so heavily focused on people, um, just become personal to me. I mean, my students, I become invested in clients, I become invested in students. And so I don't see that line anymore. I don't see that line anymore. And it all feeds into fulfilling me and making me happy. So I don't have that line of delineation. I can understand why people do it. But the truth is that I've had times in my life where I was doing really well professionally and personally things were very bad. And so what was happening professionally almost just didn't mean anything to me. I got no joy out of it. And so no, I don't delineate the two of them, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
So maybe
I
it's
love.
professional, but
Yeah, no, I get that, and while I take the point, you don't necessarily need to bucket personal and professional separately. You have to make sure that you have both existing, in as much as you keep them in the same bucket. Make sure that you're scanning your goals, so it's not just professional goals you're seeing, but have the personal ones as well. And personal ones could be having to do with like health and wellness. Is there a sporting activity or physical activity that I enjoy that I want to take up, whether it be exercise or hiking or gardening or something, dance, some kind of dance exercise type of a class? Or is there a new book that I want to read? I want to read a new book every single month, books about history or politics or whatever boring thing that somebody else may find boring but you find interesting.
or
uh
or
yeah.
do I just want to do nothing?
All right.
Nothing,
Yes.
nothing. Because
Take a
every other hour
vacation.
of the day is parceled out
Mm-hmm.
between the training, between the coaching, between TV, running chauffeur to the child, and the children are ridiculous, by the way. All these extracurriculars, it's crazy. It's not a full-time job. Stop it. Um, my former business partner, somebody who helped me start Sim Speak, said to me, Sim, I've done this. And when you're making your schedule every day, scheduling an hour to do nothing, nothing. And so in that hour, if I get it, because the truth is that I'm still working on the balance, right? If I take it, sometimes I take it and I feel guilty. But sometimes in the middle of the day, Carrie, I just go and leave my home office and I'm going to lie down. Going to lie down. And I'm like, whoa, this is new and different, but necessary.
Yep.
Rest is
One of those things that you
important.
mentioned, because if you are not healthy, you cannot thrive professionally, right? So that everything is inextricably, everything of a little link into that. Into it's all life is Lego. Life is a Lego system. You think of it like that. That's why I don't bother with the buckets again. Because any day I sick, I can't work. So yes, you are right. I've tried to get better care of myself. I'm getting back into my exercise routine. I'm realizing that the importance of self-care, of health and wellness, of taking up that reading thing again, Kerry, but also just of treasuring time when you not when you don't have anything to do, 'cause you always have something to do, but choosing deliberately, living intentionally and deliberately to decide I'm going to clutch for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to clutch for an hour.
Love it. Love it. Rachel, there's a question here that has been put up on the screen. Could you pose it
Okay.
for me, for Simone?
So, thank you, Gabrielle, my sister, for posing that question. So, it says, if you don't know exactly what you want to be right now, how do you suggest we go about choosing courses or majors in college?
Hmm. That is a brilliant question.
Great question.
Because guess what? Some of us know early and some of us don't figure it out until really, really late. And guys, that's okay. So this is why I talk about redirection, right? And I there's a saying I use on the show that you pause if you must, but you don't stop. We don't always have the answers. And sometimes the pressure for us to get the answers leads us down the wrong road. Especially as Kerry mentioned, sometimes when the answers are being provided by somebody else who wants you to do something that they want you to do. When I entered university in 19, I'm not going to tell you, all right, 1994, 93, 94. Oh, and Kerry, in the mid 90s, I knew then that I wanted to study broadcasting. CARIMA, Caribbean School Institute of Media and Communication up at Mona, had an entrance test that you had to sit to get in. And because the Caribbean Institute of Media and Communication was so small, they could only take a small number of students each year. So you had to sit the test for them to take the cream of the crop and put them into the program. Well, the first year I was among the dregs. Okay, I'm going to say that. I don't mean it like that, but I didn't make it into the final cut. And
Okay.
so that first year, I thought to myself, my life is over. My life is over. I want to be a broadcaster. What am I going to do with this year of my life? So, do you know what I did?
What
I
did you
was
do?
already awarded the space. I said, you know what? I just have to find another major this year, something that will be able to serve me just generally in future. I had done A-level Spanish and I was really good at it. And so I took the position at UA and I became a Spanish major in my first year, psychology minor. And then in the second year, I said, no, I'm going to Carmack. And I went and I redid the test and I got in. And so Carmack became my major and Spanish became my minor. So the nugget there is I didn't know what I was going to do initially when I was not given the space that I wanted. But again, as I said earlier, what is your plan B? You can't throw your hands up in the air and sit down on the side of the road and say, I can't bother. That's not a thing. So you pause, you figure out, okay, what are my next steps logically? What can I do? So Daniel, is there another subject at which you're good? Is there a direction that you think could be useful in future if you're not even sure right now what you want to do? There's some things you can't lose with. So IT is going places. Do you have an interest in business? Yes, no.
Sure.
Are you good at econ? Are you good at accounts? What are you good at? English, math, those two can't fail you because those are the foundation of everything else that you build up. So, what can you do in the interim to use to build that base so that when you get that light bulb that says, aha, this is what I want to do, then you can put yourself squarely in that position. Also, though, I don't want to be controversial, but until you figure it out, Kerry, hold me accountable here. You know, guys, a lot of folks are going into the era of certification and becoming very targetedly qualified. Skill sets are very much in demand and making a lot of money, not only here in Jamaica, but their skills are in great demand worldwide. So, is it that for that time when you're figuring it out, Danielle? Um, you,
Gabriel.
Gabrielle, sorry. Thank you so much, Rachel. You certify yourself in an area that is in great demand, no? Or you do the certification while you're doing whatever your plan B is in college. And so you're setting yourself up in terms of not only academic qualifications, but in the area of skills as well. And then when you figure it out, no, nobody can beat you because guess what? You lock A, you lock B, and you're good to go. At that point, you are so well set that the choice is yours to make as to what you want to do because you're so well equipped, right?
Thank you,
So that is my
Simone.
advice.
So it's not about putting ourselves in a box, and it's not about having just one mindset for us to go to. But even if Gabriel, you want to go into computer science, and or if you want to go into graphic designing, you could take a psychology course. You don't know, the mind has a lot to do with art. So even in doing that course, it could be that, oh, you know that people are gravitated to the color red. So when I'm creating
Right?
my
It's good for
computer
business
science
and
business,
marketing. Ask Carrie. Ask Carrie. I'm telling. Listen, guys. All of these lines of demarcation that we like to posit, a lot of them are not real. There's a lot of interplay. Look and think about even diagram and maths. Everything is interrelated and interlinked to something else.
everything,
Also, guys, there are no boxes. We don't believe in shapes. There are no boxes. Fit into none of them. Don't fit in a nobody box. There are no boxes, right? Create your own shape, build
Yeah.
your own legacy. Whatever your shape looks like, it could be an infinity symbol. It could be a part of a box with a part of a triangle. I mean, come on, folks. It's such an exciting time to be alive because just about global. I mean, there are no more borders. Geographical borders are irrelevant. It's a global village. You can stay here. I can stay here right behind this desk and do work for somebody in Azerbaijan. I mean, come on. There are no limits. There are no limits.
Yeah.
There are no boxes. There's nothing to hold you back. There's nothing to hold you back.
no
Yeah.
pages. Our life is pageless, so keep writing.
Love it. Our life is pageless. Keep writing. I love it. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, this is awesome. And I know that we have a great audience who is watching. And I watch the temperature in the chat. Because when nuggets drop in, the chat gets kind of static. And then when when the nugget pass, people start to drop in. Yes. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Gabriel. Thanks for your question. And yes, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. If not, say hello, tell us your name, where you're watching from, whether you're a current or a past student of ICHS, what house you are in. I mean, we have still have that little competition going here because we have houses representing in the chat, ICHS houses. But thank you so much for joining us. And again, we're recording this session. Share the live, this link, this YouTube link, to invite your ICHS community and colleagues to join. If not, we're recording it and they can catch it later. So, Rachel, over to you, because I think the next question is certainly around next steps, because I know Simone would have shared with us that writing it down was like the first thing, but the next question, Rachel, is over to you.
Yes. So our next question is Simone. Right now it's goal planning time. So what are the first steps you suggest for someone who wants to make their master plan? Someone who's planning out their life, planning out the dreams and the goals that they want to have. What should they do first?
Mm-hmm. Master plan, master plan is the thing that's going to feed everything else. So you're building a master plan. What is in the bag? So bag is the BHAG. When you think of your life, Rachel, what is your biggest, hairiest, most audacious goal? Big, hairy, audacious goal. What is that thing that when people talk about Rachel, you want them to associate your name with? And that's what all of us want, All of us want to leave here having been remembered for something, having made our mark for something on somebody, not necessarily a bunch of people, but even one person's life you can impact. So your master plan starts with, what is that thing that I want to be remembered for? What is that big dream that I have that I want to accomplish, right? And then when you've thought about that, or those, because it could be one or two, then you start to figure out the building blocks to getting you there. So we're going back to the degree. What kind of support, educational support, am I going to need to be able to offer this service in an authentic and authoritative, that's the word I'm looking for, way, so people know that you're delivering something and you know what you're talking about and you're not talking foolishness. Is there some kind of other toolkit I need to equip myself with before I can start to try to equip other people? What other steps do I have to take in pursuit of achieving that dream, and line by line, different goals that are going to enable you to get there, right? Write them down. What's the big dream? Right now, to the left of me, I have my vision board. I'm not going to show no because my business is on it, but it has the big dream at the top. And then it separates all the goals to get to the dream in buckets: career, financial, health, learning. I just want to tell you what the one is. Don't leave me. Come in. Learning and relationships, right? 5 buckets. And I build out all of those goals underneath all of those buckets to get me to the big goal, right? And each year those goals change because as time goes by, we tick off. Some will end up on next year's vision board as well. But that's what your master plan has to look like, a master plan. For some of us, it's literally a diagram. Guys, if you have it all stuck in here, trust me when I tell you, you need to give birth to the ideas in your head or they will drive you crazy. That's for me anyway. So it's if it's not a two sheets of catch paper, maybe it's a whiteboard, or maybe it's your notebook or your journal. What is the overarching goal? What is the big dream? What do I need to do step by step to get there? I recently did an interview with Tanya Stevens, recording artist Tanya Stevens, and Tanya was saying to me that, sometimes you think of goals and we think about these big, ostentatious things that you have to write down. And she said to me, Simone, for me, my goals are very simple. Very simple. I don't set anything that's hugely unattainable so that I can beat myself up when I don't get there. I make them very attainable. And then as they tick off, I just make new ones. We have to remember that it's a process and that we have to pace ourselves. It's not a competition with anybody. You're not in a race with anybody. This is your life, right? You know what your goals are. When you figure out the overarching objective and the goals to get you there, then you need to figure out within what time frame, Rachel, because guys, life is not infinite and it happens really quickly. By the time you blink, you're like, where did the last 5 years go? So if it's that you want to offer counseling services to individuals, when are you going to go and get the psychology degree, or when are you going to learn and get the certification in counseling? When are you going to do it? Over what period? Which program are you going to do? Like for me, starting Sim Soul has opened a floodgate of requests and questions and people asking me for advice that I think I can give, but I don't want to be in a position where I'm giving people advice and I don't know if I'm telling the right thing. So my next step in my big, hairy, audacious goal of being able to impact lives positively through whatever I do is to go and certify myself in counseling so that I can offer an authoritative perspective when I'm speaking to people who come to me with life and death issues.
That's
That's
an
why
amazing goal,
step by
Simone.
step. Say again, Rachel.
I was saying that that's an amazing goal.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And it's not a big like, but it's big to me because if you can impact lives, then that's a big deal. So our different goals will look like different things depending on who we are, depending on what our life goals are, depending on what our personalities are. But that's okay too, which is why I tell you guys to employ tunnel vision, run your own race when you're goal setting, because sometimes we look over in other people's lanes and we see them doing things and we think our goals don't measure up. What you're aiming for is self actualization and maximization of your potential true to your heart and your soul. So don't watch nobody else. Do your thing. Level up yourself according to your standards and hold yourself to account.
That's true. Someone has a question, Kadia. So she's asking, what do you do when your big, hairy, audacious goal, has you feeling stuck?
You stop for a little bit, because if you hit your head against the wall 15 times and expect that in hitting it the 16th time it's not going to hurt, that is the definition of insanity. So, Kadia, as I said, achieving your goals and objectives in pursuit of your dream is a process. The process is not easy. Carrie, can you get an amen?
Amen, sister.
As a matter of fact, if it's too easy, sometimes you got to wonder what's wrong, because the difficulty is baked in, especially the bigger the dream, which is why when you achieve it, it is so fulfilling, because that despite all the hurdles and the potholes you got through. But factor into that, Kato, time for when you buck your toe and drop. Factor into that the many times you're going to try that goal as you climb up the rung towards dream and you fail. And thankfully, we have this atmosphere now, which I think is slowly changing, where people realize that failure is crucial to success. Everybody who has achieved any measure of success has failed because they didn't get it right the first time. But you know what you do with failure? You fail up. You give thanks. You literally say, God, thank you for this mistake. And then you sit and you look at what it was that you did wrong. And you ensure that when you go again, you do not make the same mistake unless you want to end up with the same result. Life is a series of failures. You just have to make sure, as my best friend Dane Ramgalam told me, also an immaculate alum, that a
Mhm.
mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn the lessons. Life is replete with mistakes. You're gonna meet the challenges on the way to that big, hairy, audacious goal, Kadia. But once you pause, because we need time to regroup, but you don't park, don't stop, don't stop. Just feel stuck, acknowledge. I'm big now on embracing those moments when I feel like, I say, hello, feeling of frustration. Here you are again. I know you. I expected you. I know what you're going to feel like because guess what? I've been here before. And I also know what it's like to get past you. So come, stay for the time you're going to stay, but you're not going to stay here long. That's what I do. I lean into the negative emotions because I know one day it's going to be in my windscreen. Not my windscreen, in my rear view, and I'll be windscreening again. And then 6 months down the line, I'm going to feel stuck again. And I say, oh, you again? All right. You can stay for a bit. You can't stay for long. Right? And the only way to get unstuck, Kadia, is to put action after you sit and you rest because you feel beat up and you feel like, oh my God, here I am again. When is this ever going to happen? You have to then kind of, deliberately, a lot of this is deliberate and intentional, guys. You hear me using that word a lot? Say to yourself, okay, Kerry, I've been sitting here moping for the last 2 days. Now is the time for me to use my brain power to think, what did I do last time that was not the right thing? How do I redirect and go again? Okay? So the failure part, crucial, 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 crucial. Feeling stuck, crucial, right? But at some point, you have to get up and go again. Gotta get unstuck and move again. Learn the lessons, fail up, and move on.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank you,
Love
Simone. Thank you. So we use
Thank
our
you.
failures to persevere and to make sure that we continue doing what we set out to do. So,
Absolutely.
Kadia, I hope that you got a lot from what Simone just added. And over to you, Carrie, with our next question.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rachel. I mean, this is again a great conversation, guys. Drop your questions in the chat. Simone is here to answer, and we're here to support the responses. And of course, if you have any nuggets, anything that you would have tried that worked for you or didn't work, feel free to drop that in the chat as well, because that's why we're here. We're here to, share and support each other and share different ideas and experiences, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow. Simone, the next question is, so we talk about goal achievement, but I know sometimes with all the best intentions and all the best plans, and we would have kind of dipped into it with Kadia's question just now. Could you tell us, Simone, were there any goals that you would have set for yourself that you didn't achieve, that you haven't perhaps already mentioned? And in those circumstances, what did you find was the biggest lesson or lessons that you would have learned from those experiences?
Okay, so several is the first answer, and timing is the second answer. Sometimes the answer to I want this now is no, because it's not a part of the master plan. I was saying that, man plan and God wipe. So I'm a firm believer that everything in your life happens when it is supposed to happen according to the master plan. And sometimes the answer to I want this no is it's not time for you to have it no. And so yes, there are several things I would have wanted to do that didn't get done. I told you guys about Carmack. That was a disappointment in my life. But if it never worked out the way it worked out, would I be doing what I'm doing now? You know what I mean? I used that year. I went to CPTC, Creative Production and Training Center, now the Media Technology Institute on Canewood Road in Kingston. And while I was doing my Spanish major, I was running up the curve in TV, broadcast, production. I mean, I learned everything there was to know in broadcasting through that training institute, even while I was studying the Spanish. And the Spanish came in handy too, because when I started working in media in 97, at Fame and TV, as a matter of fact, I started working in TV in 94. But when I got my radio job in 97, and it necessitated a lot of travel, sometimes we'd have to go to Spanish-speaking countries. And for Francois, I was a translator, right? So every rejection, as I always say to folks, is redirection, but it ends up serving you in the long run. So sometimes the timing is not right, but sometimes the answer is not no, it's just not no, right? And so if it is that I'm trying my best and with my best efforts, whatever I want to do doesn't work out, I'm very good now at making peace with that, because it was not supposed to happen. That's just what I say. I say, okay, it's not supposed to happen now. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. So Karamat didn't work out. I remember when I just left university, I used to go on auditions for gigs, and there were friends of mine who left school with me, and we'd go on the same auditions, and I would never get the jobs. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? I went to audition at my first radio station, and the GM said to me, you need to go and do something else called radio is not your thing. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just spend 4 years in university to do? That's the other thing, you can't make people pour the wrong thing into the spirit, because sometimes people will blight what is for you, because I could have listened and dropped out, and I didn't. My second audition was Fame, and that took me 15 years into not only broadcast, but media management, right? Because the answer was not no, it was not no, and definitely not there, which was the first place I'd auditioned. I was supposed to end up where I ended up. And so this is a story I don't often tell. I don't think I've ever told this story, actually. I auditioned for a very popular entertainment show on Jamaican television. And just as I was about to get the work, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And because I was pregnant with Aaron, that didn't work out. And I was like, okay, this is devastating. And then I look at what happened to me after that, and I was like, no, it wasn't. Because it just wasn't supposed to happen. It just was not supposed to happen. And so we just have to remember that there are things we will want for ourselves that do not work out. And that is either because the timing is wrong or it's not supposed to. And we have to make peace with that. And the only way we will find out which of those answers is relevant to us is with time and the passage of time. But while it reveals, or while you wait for it to reveal itself, you have to keep working. You have to keep going. You may be disappointed. You may feel like, gosh, I'm putting all these plans in place. I'm doing all this training. I'm investing so much in myself, and this is not working out. But it will. It will. It's just, it has to work itself out when it's supposed to work itself out. So the disappointments are a part of the journey, but life's GPS has a way of rerouting and recalibrating and getting you back on the path. Not necessarily maybe in the time that you would have wanted, but ultimately you will get there. So if you set the goals, guys, and it don't work exactly the way you want it to work, please remember that you are not the exception, you are the rule. You're not the anomaly. It happens that way for most all of us. But you just have to be patient, because if it's really what you want, just stay in pursuit of it. Stay in pursuit of it. And if you don't get it exactly in the way you want it, there will be another way in which what you have done will serve you.
All right. I love that. I love that. And Simone, I'm just even reflecting on your own journey because, again, you and I come from far, right? And I mean, Simone, you were even my teacher once. And I thought it was a phenomenal time in the sense that CPTC, voice and speech, right? When Wycliffe Bennett was the, I would say, foremost authority on voice and speech in Jamaica, and he would have passed and or retired. I think he had passed by then. And it was like, you are one of those former students of his who got that learning, and you has been using that to pour into other students even to this day. I saw you had your course the other day, and I mean, people, you're giving information that people don't get in school. I mean, it just goes to show that opportunities can come in so many ways, shapes, and forms. And sometimes it's for us to see it and leverage it and realize, oh, here is something, here's a niche that I can go in and occupy because nobody else is there, and or very few people are there. And it can open up a whole new door that you didn't realize existed.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the other bit of advice, is to, while you're waiting on whatever that it is that you want to happen to you, shore up yourself in other areas, because you never know what opportunities will present. Because I could never have known Kerry in 1993 when I was at CPTC, under Mr. Bennett's wing as a teaching assistant, that one day he would say, after having trained me and two others, this course is now yours to teach. What? I was like 21, 20, 18, 19. I was 18. Could have been 18 at the time. I was very, very young. I had no business teaching that kind of information to people who were my age, because you were in one of my classes, and older than I am. But look at what it has given me 30 years later. I am now able to credibly put my own courses and classes together, and is now one of the ways I earn a living. Even while I just take such immense joy from seeing how you can take somebody who comes into your class with shoulders slumped, who is apologizing for their presence, coming out as upright, people who have found their voice, literally and figuratively. I couldn't ask for anything more. And I didn't plan for that. That was just life redirecting me and me just going along with it. It was divine. All of our detours, I believe that. All of our detours are divine.
All of our detours are divine. Love that. Here's another one of your students in the chat, Shanique Palmer, member of ICS Alum.
Shanique, I hope you're
Thanks,
still using the training.
Yeah. I mean, awesome training. And yes, Catherine, drop in another nugget in the chat as well. Disappointment is inevitable. Discouragement, not an option. We just have to keep going, guys. I'm going to hand back over to Rachel. Guys, continue to drop your questions in the chat. We have just under 15 minutes left, so we want to get in any final questions and comments. But Rachel, back over to you.
Rachel, you're on mute.
Sorry. Okay, so I just wanted to add to what we were just saying just now. One of the things that I try to remember when something doesn't go my way is the verse that says, "For I know the plan."
Hey.
For I know the plans.
High five me. I have for you. Yes.
I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future.
Rachel, that's my favorite. That's my favorite Bible verse.
I love that. That's Jeremiah 1 verse 11. Verse 29, verse 11. Yes. So don't fret, don't worry. Everything will work out for your good. And that's what the Bible says, and the Bible is facts. Mm-hmm. So the next question, Simone. So we talked about our goals. We talked about sometimes our goals not going how we want it to. But what are some of the things that you think are holding us back from our goals?
I think largely self-doubt, and I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak from my experience. That's something I've been plagued with ever since I can remember. We don't believe in ourselves, Rachel. We don't believe we can do it. A lot of us may um, think about what we want to do and we know, but when we think about the work involved, we say we can't bother. So a lot of us give up before we start. So we're not committed. And then there are those of us who will sit down on the dream until the dream dead. Procrastination. Um, those three things and lack of focus. So if there are too many things coming at you at one time, then what is the real area of focus? And you can know that you want to do a lot of things, but you have to systematically be able to know where you're going to start and the path you're going to take to get there. But integral to the achievement of any dream is you have to believe it. You have to believe in your ability to achieve it. You have to be determined in achieving it. You have to be committed to achieving it, even when it's not going your way and you want to say, me cannot bother. Me can't bother, this too hard. I give up. No. Pause if you must. Take a breather if you have to, but do not stop. Discipline. So I think I'm answering what some of the stumbling blocks are, but also some of the things that are crucial to the achievement. You see, discipline, people like to talk about, oh, you got to be motivated. If you're not motivated, you can't. Motivation is great, but discipline is the secret sauce. You know why? There are some days when you will wake up and you have zero. When I say zero, I mean zero motivation. You don't want to do anything that day, but lay down in your bed. You don't want to get up. You don't want to face the world. You don't want to work. You don't even want to eat. You don't want to bathe. There are those days, right? That's when discipline comes in. When you train that muscle to know that despite how you're feeling on that day, you know what you need to do and you got to get it done. And you hold yourself accountable. Accountability is very important. You need to be able to hold yourself accountable, but also find an accountability partner. So Rachel, it could be you and Gabrielle. Kerry could be mine. I make Kerry know what my goals are in the achievement of my dream, what my steps are to the achievement of each goal and each objective. And I said to her, look here, call me every Friday to see where I've gotten to X part. Because I know I have to report to her, I am pushed to be able to do what it is I need to do. If I don't do it, I'll be able to explain to her why. But the accountability partner is very important. But if you can't hold yourself accountable, it doesn't matter who else is in the picture. So you have to be to yourself, right? So decide what it is you want to do. Believe that it can be done and that you are the person who can do it. Dedicate and commit yourself to the pursuit of whatever it is. Be consistent in the approach. Not do it today and put it down for 6 weeks and pick it up again. That don't make it. That's not going to happen for you. The only thing you're going to get there is what you always got, which is inconsistency, which does not breed or yield results. So you have to be consistent. Show up every day, even on the days you don't want to, right? And listen to your own voice. I want to build out on this one a little bit. When I was going to start my business in June of 2020, when I was going to leave my corporate job, I had people saying to me, are you crazy? You're crazy. What are you doing? How can you leave a job that, is such a good job and you know where your money coming from every month and it. Those voices are easy to listen to, especially when you're about to make a big decision where you have to take a big jump, right? Where you're going to have to build your wings on the way down, right? If your voice is not the loudest voice in your head, in your heart, in the room, if your belief in self is not great enough, then people will talk you out of your dream, talk you out of your goal. and have you 10 years down the line, in a place of stuck, wondering why you never tried. Again, goes back to what I talked about earlier, which is regret. You're not going to make a stupid decision. You're going to make a decision to jump. You have to know what you have in place to jump. But you also have to know when the right time is in your life for that particular goal to start to be action. Because if you have it in your sights, but you allow other people to talk you out of it, so that you can stay where you are in pursuit of other people's goals, that's going to end you up in a life of regret. So for me, and Kim said something in the chat that I kind of agree with, but I don't agree with. For me, we talk a lot about passion and purpose, and if you love what you do, you don't ever work a day in your life. No, it's when you love what you do that you work the hardest, especially if you're working for yourself, right? You enjoy it and it fulfills you. But the hardest work you will ever do is building your own business. But for me, you do it with love because it's what feeds your soul. Where I am now is, what is that thing that you think about that sets your soul on fire every time you think about it? It just makes you tingle with delight and excitement. And when you think about yourself doing work in that area, you just feel like there's nothing you can't do. What is that thing? And how can you make that thing your life's work? How can that become your dream? And what are the goals that you can build out to help you achieve that? Even in the face of, and especially in the face of naysayers, how can you make that dream a reality? What are the goals that you can put in place to make that dream manifest?
One of
And
the
so
things,
I say all that to say, right, that, in the achievement of those dreams, you can hold yourself back by some of the things I mentioned earlier, Rachel. But those are some of the very things that can help you to get to where you want to go. Believe in yourself, believe you can do it, be consistent, keep working even when you get knocked down, be disciplined even when motivation fails you, and listen to your own heart and your own voice.
thank you, Simone, so much. And one of the things I was thinking about while you were talking about the persons who say, "Are you really gonna do that? Are you really?" One of the things I was thinking about is success takes risk. And
Hey,
you have to do your own risk assessment to see, can I do this or not? Is this goal worth it or not?
yes,
So
ma'am.
even though you may have people as you did that were saying you, they may even be looking down on you like, you're that young and you're trying to do this? Really? I don't think so. But
Yeah,
you have to know, and as you were saying, you have to believe that, no, actually I can do this. No,
yeah.
actually I was made for this. So you have to have that belief in yourself. You have to have that confidence in your own ability to know that I've done my risk assessments and this is what I want to do. So you
Yeah.
do it.
You got to know what your risk appetite is and what your risk tolerance is. Who else are you responsible for? Who else will this affect if it goes belly up? How much longer can you wait? Is this the right time? Is this the wrong time? Can I wait 2 more years? Do I have enough of a cushion in place? All of these are questions you need to ask yourself. Um, should I really be doing this in my mid 40s? Is this foolish? When you think about people like Oprah and you read about all these big entrepreneurs, you've done the case studies and you're reading, Kerry, about those people who started at 45 and 50 and just blew right up and had immeasurable success. I mean, there is no wrong time to start. I didn't start to goal set deliberately until I hit my fourth decade. And I wonder what would have happened had I really been, here come these words again, intentional and deliberate earlier. But you know what? I trust the timing because I never trusted my talent before that, right? And I couldn't see myself in a certain way before that. But I got to a point where I started to ask myself, I stopped asking myself, what if this doesn't work? And I started asking myself, what if it does? What if it does? What if you're scared because it's not going to work and it works? So, you know what I did? I did it scared anyway. which is how I do a lot of things. Because fear, false expectations appearing real, fear will lock you in a state of analysis paralysis. And you will spend all your time thinking about the reasons why you shouldn't until your window gone. Nope, absolutely not. There is a time when what you want to do becomes so firmly affixed in your gut that it's all you can think about. You eat it, you sleep it, you go to bed with it, you wake up with it, you wake up in the middle of the night and you write down some more, right? To me, that's how I knew. That's how I knew. And I thought to myself, okay, no, it's no. What if it doesn't work? What if it does work? And if it don't work, guess what? I still have my degree, right, Karen? I still have my how much years of broadcast training and experience. I still have my how much years of corporate communication experience at the highest level. I can't dead for hungry. I can't dead for hungry. You know? So fear, false expectations appearing real, analysis paralysis. The other side of fear is a beautiful, beautiful place. Let me tell you. Some of us, when we step out from behind the fear and we get on the other side, we think, had I known, I would have done this so much sooner. But again, the timing is the timing. Trust the timing. And that when it happens, it is the right time for it to happen in your life. And then you try your best to just make the rest of it the best of it.
And Simone, we're taking some nuggets here, and I know our audience is just listening and taking notes. It's been such a wonderful conversation, and we have one more question for Simone before we wrap. And but first, I want to let everybody know that this is something that we came up with the idea. We're doing it. I'm so happy we did. I'm so happy for everybody who would have joined. If there are any topics, guys, that you want us to cover in future live streams, we could have other featured guests. If there are any topics you want us to cover and discuss, please, by all means, let us know. Drop them in the chat, drop them in the comments. If you're watching the replay, we want to hear from you and want to have the kind of discussions that you think will be useful to you as students right now, and even people who are still trying to figure it out, right, Simka? We're still trying to figure it out. So as phenomenal ICHS women, current and past, we're very, very passionate to hear what it is you want to talk about in future conversations like this. Thanks for joining. Share the fact that this live and this recording exists. Share the YouTube link with your ICHS community and colleagues. And we have one more question for Simone before we wrap, and I'll just ask it. And I feel like you've probably addressed it in so many ways, Simone, because you've been really pouring into us all this time. But the question really is to anyone, Simone, who is watching right now, and they may be struggling with their own goal achievement journey, their goal planning and goal achievement journey, and they're perhaps not really seeing a way, not seeing a way that they can get there. What's your word of encouragement to them, Simone, as a final response before we officially wrap this conversation today?
I would say to know that you are not alone in this bid to achieve what you want to achieve and not seeing it materialize when you want to see it materialize. As a matter of fact, you are part of the greater percentage of folks, because very few people get it right the first time or on the first set of tries. Just don't stop. Don't stop. And stopping is the easier thing, guys, because sometimes it gets so hard and you feel so sidetracked and so disappointed and so discouraged that you're like, you know what? Maybe this dream is just not for me. But it's when you give up that you never know. It's when you don't try that you never know. Push through and see what happens, because you know what? Dealing with the difficulty and sometimes the disappointment and whatever else comes with being derailed on your journey, it's hard. But regret is harder. Regret is harder to live with. You know, it's better to know that you tried and this never worked out. You recalibrate and you come again, because that's what we do as phenomenal women. So if that didn't work, what can I do that's a version of that and do it better so that this will have a better chance? But until you've tried it, you can't give up the dream. Don't allow a dream to die inside you. You know, you've got to make sure you give it everything you have before you park it or rejig it, you know, so you can see maybe you did a little tweaking or you, but you can't just give it up. Can't just give it up. You know, I've learned in the last year, everybody, that life is a gift. It's very, very short. Kerry can attest. We've both had very serious life blows in the last year. I've lost my mom, she's lost her dad. And it has given me such sharp, I mean, even without these, my vision is crystal clear now because everything in my life has come into sharper focus. And you just know we are not here to live other people's dreams. We are not here as relics. We are not figurines. God put us all here. He has a plan for every single one of us. He's planted that plan and purpose within our spirit. And we owe him or we fail him when we decide we're going to stay on this earth and exist and not live fully. So, you want to build somebody else's dream? Be a part of somebody else's goals? Okay. But that's existing. That's not why we're here. We are here to live full lives in pursuit of the things that make us happy, in pursuit of the things that set our souls on fire, in pursuit of the things that change us as better, for better people, and help us impact other people's lives positively. We need one another, so I will defend each man as my brother, each man as my friend. No man is an island, right? So, what are we doing? Not only in pursuit, as we were taught at school, of our own goals and passions and to make ourselves better, but to make the collective better. Do not give up on your goal. Do not give up on your dream. It's yours. It's yours for a reason. You know, you own it. Don't give it away. Don't give it up. It's too valuable. Pursue it. Pursue it. Don't give up. Difficulty is hard. Regret is worse. That's what I'm going to leave you guys with.
Love it, love it, love it. Rachel, what are your thoughts? What are your final thoughts about how the conversation went today?
I love the conversation. I think it was very insightful for me. Even as Simone and you, Kerry, were talking, I was thinking about my own life, my own goals, the things that I want to do, and just kind of encouraging my own self in like, Rachel, you can do it. And if God has put you on this earth to do it, then you can surely, surely, surely do it. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Love it, love it. Ladies, this has been such a fantastic conversation. I'm so very, very happy with how how everything went in terms of all the things we're able to cover in such a tight space of time. I feel like sometimes you have these conversations, you could be here for another hour, but no, we have to let Simone go to her bed. But
Talk on me bedtime.
I don't know when your bedtime is. I'm just saying, you have to do your little ablutions before you hit bed. So we're not going to take up any more of your time. But, I'm sure Kadia is speaking perhaps on behalf of all of us when we say thank you so much for the gems and for the authenticity in sharing it, the openness. As women, we have a very, very different kind of journey to what the men have in a lot of ways, similar but different in other ways. And it's great to have fora like these where we can connect and share. And as phenomenal ICHS women, again, past and present, it's great to be able to do this from anywhere in the world on a platform like this. It's just fantastic. So thank you, first of all, to everybody. I think it was Gabrielle who dropped some suggestions for topics for future Girl Magic live streams. Thanks, Gabrielle. We'll definitely take that under advisement and get the resource people in place to be able to put those together for you. And again, share this YouTube link to anybody who may have missed this live. We have recorded it. So if you missed any part of it or you want to rewatch it again with a nice glass of something to kind of soak it all in and write down your plans and get
Water.
yourself in gear, you know.
Water.
Uh,
Water.
yes, anything, juice, soda. I'm a soda person personally. I'm sorry, I love
Orange
Coca-Cola.
juice, some nice orange
But
juice.
yeah, just take it all in, share it with someone who you think could benefit from it, and of course, stay tuned to our social media channels. If you're not a member of the ICHS Alumni Association, because Rachel, you can be a member too, because you're a graduate, so you can join the association. We have lots of things coming up. I see Kim Mayer working hard in the chat. We have upcoming the ICHS Orchestra is going to be performing on Sunday coming. If you never hear ICHS
Okay.
Orchestra yet,
Where
them
is that?
orchestra,
Where is that?
turn up, turn up.
Okay,
So
where is
check
that,
out.
Kibiki?
So yeah, I don't have all the details because I will
Okay.
embarrass myself. But if you look on the ICHS 876's alumni social media pages on Instagram and on Facebook, the details are there. I know it's at I think it's at JC Auditorium, the Hendrickson Auditorium at JC. But in terms of the details, guys, check out our social media channels. And again, future topics, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comments, and please keep the connection going, keep the conversation going, and hopefully, all being well, we'll be back again to see you soon. So follow us on social media to know when our next conversation is going to be. And to you, Rachel and Simone, thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you to everybody who would have watched, and have an awesome rest of the day, the weekend, and hey, the rest of the year. Have a great one. Thank
Carrie
you.
Ann,
Yes, Rachel.
as we close, I'd just like to kind of tell the people about what I'm doing as Miss Immaculate,
Oh,
and
sure.
just to invite them to share. So one thing that I'm doing is Dolly of the Week, and that
Yeah,
basically is
I
changing the
saw
meaning
that.
of the word Dolly to mean a decorously outstanding lady learning to lead in her youth. So this is encouraging all of us just to be exemplary people, just to show kindness to others, to go above and beyond, to be good leaders in not only our school but in our country. And that's one of the things. And also another thing that I will be doing is a talk show. And this basically something so similar to this that it's crazy is
Mhm.
something that encourages us as young women to see ourselves as successful. So through persons that are on the journey, through persons that have already been there, that can encourage us to be successful in our own lives. Because we as immaculate girls currently, we have a lot of self-doubt, and we have a lot of, but I don't really know the answer, but girl, and this will basically encourage us as people, as immaculate, phenomenal ladies, to be successful. So, the name of the talk show is Real Talk with Miss Immaculate, and it will be streamed on the YouTube page and on various other platforms. I hope that you guys will support, and it will also be in person, but you guys will get details on that in the coming days, weeks. So I just really hope that you guys support. Thank you.
Can I just say, Kara,
Yeah.
this school, well, thank you, first of all, Carrie, for doing this. This is an awesome idea. Rachel, the fact that you were able to sit here and co-host, it's not easy to do, right? And you did it, so good job. Kudos to you. I just want to say that this school just continues to be amazing. So many years after we have left, I have new reason to interact because my daughter is there. And when I drive onto the grounds every day, I just feel so proud when I see the big signs, Home of Phenomenal Women. And, you look at the school grounds, you're proud. But when you see how just structured and ordered my experience has been, with interacting with the school now as a parent, I am so grateful for this institution. My daughter loves it. She is being stretched in every different direction, extracurricular this, club that, school this, and me just proud that the school just stand up so well after all these years. It is just a joy. It is just a joy to call Immaculate Conception High School my alma mater. And know the alma mater of my child and hopefully her children after, just a fantastic school. And immaculate ladies are phenomenal. Rachel, you and your fellow students are phenomenal. Don't forget, even in the face of being scared and not having all the answers, you are phenomenal women. And if you can't figure it out, reach out to people who can help you. Because that's why
Thank you,
we're
Simone.
All right. Well, that's wonderful, and I second that, Sim. I mean, I'm not an immaculate mom, but I mean, just I will say that as a team leader, as a manager in corporate Jamaica for a number of years, I almost feel like I know the immaculate graduates when they come in for an interview or they come in for a job. It's like it's almost written on their face. I mean, really, just a blessing to be able to go. To that institution, and I know that as students continue to go through, we continue to encourage former immaculate girls to pour back in, and I know I was guilty of not doing enough of that, but as Simone says, now is the time, no time like the present without focusing on the past. Let's pour back in and continue to fly the flag of what really is a phenomenal institution, flying high for the next generation, Rachel, and all the students, and to follow Simone's daughter. I think there's so much that can continue to be achieved through the school's endeavors, and we just all need to just continue to pour into it and to pour into each other. So thank you so much, ladies. Thank you very much. Yes, Miss Kim, burning up the chat. We are phenomenal. All right, love it. So congrats again, Rachel. All the best with
Thank
your
you.
with your talk show. Yes, keep us posted. We can follow Immaculate's IG page. I know
That's
Simply
simply
Immaculate.
immaculate.
Right, so we know what's going on. Your social media is fire, by the way. You guys are doing some awesome stuff on social media and Instagram. I love to
Thank
see
you.
it. And yeah, so hopefully, guys, we'll do this again sometime soon. And we'll be in touch. See you on social media. Have a great rest of the evening, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.